the about clinical examination of eyes. In previous practical we have learned about the sensory system and the motor system. Our next component is special senses. In that we are going to see first what is how to examine the clinical examination of eyes. Okay. So before under this heading, that is examination of the eyelid, lacrimal apparatus, conjunctiva, cornea, sclera, anterior chamber, iris, pupil, lens, posterior chamber, and eyeball tension. Under this heading, we are going to see the how to examine the eye. So before starting with the clinical examination of the eye, what are the anatomical aspect of the eyeball? Okay, so there are three layers: one fibrous layer, outer fibrous layer, middle vascular layer, and most inner is mural layer. Outer fibrous layer consists of sclera and anteriorly cornea. So this cornea and sclera, this constitute the outer fibrous layer. While middle layer, vascular layer, that is called as iris, ciliary body, and the choroid. This is called as middle vascular layer. While most inner, that is called as neural layer, it is called as retina, okay, which is continuing as an optic nerve. Okay. So this is the about layer of the eyeball, and the lens is suspended in this eyeball with the help of suspensory ligament, which are arising from the ciliary body. Okay, so this is a lens. So cornea, sclera, iris, ciliary body, choroid, then lens, suspensory ligament, and this is a retina. So these are the components of the eyeball. Okay. Now, what are the complaints or what are the symptoms that are suggestive of involvement of the eye, or that patient comes with you that is suggestive of involvement of the eye? Okay. So that complaints are, first is most important, most common is diminution of the vision. That is can be seen in case of myopia and hypermetropia. Okay. Then pain in eye or surrounding the eye. It can be seen in case of glaucoma, or it can be seen in foreign body or trauma to the eyeball. Okay. Then blurring of the vision. It can be seen in case of nystagmus or in squint. Okay. So we have to just observe whether the patient is having ptosis, exophthalmos. I will tell what is mean by ptosis and exophthalmos in the eyelids. So let us start with the first eyelid. Okay. In that we have to see there are two eyelids, upper eyelid and lower eyelid for each eye. We have to see rate of blinking. Normally it is one blinking per 2 seconds, 2 to 3 seconds. Okay. So average it is around 12 to 15 per minute. This is normal blinking rate. In case of foreign body sensation or in case of injury, in case of conjunctivitis, this rate of blinking may increase. Okay. Then gap between the upper eyelid and the cornea. So suppose this is a upper eyelid and this is a cornea. Okay. So normally in normal person, upper eyelid just touches the cornea. At 12 o'clock position, it will cover the around 1 to 2 millimeter distance of cornea. In case if there is a upper eyelid cover more than 2 millimeter distance, then it is called as ptosis. Okay, that is called as drooping of the eyelid, upper eyelid. Okay, so it can be mild, moderate, or severe depending on that upper eyelid cover to more than 2 millimeter distance. It is called as mild. If it cover 3 millimeter distance, it is called as moderate. Then it cover more than 4 millimeter distance, it is called as severe ptosis. Okay. Then exophthalmos, there is nothing but the abnormal protrusion of the eyeball. This can be seen in case of hyperthyroidism. Hyperthyroidism. Okay. Also called as thyrotoxicosis. While ptosis you can see in case of third nerve paralysis. Okay. Also bilateral ptosis you can see in case of myasthenia gravis. Then lid margin. Okay. So these are the lid margin. This can be thickened, can be reddish in case of inflammation of the eyelid, that is called as blepharitis. Okay. That is called as inflammation of the eyelid. Okay. Then eyelashes. Eyelashes are nothing but the hairs which are arising from which are present in the upper eyelid, at the lid margin of the upper eyelid and the lower eyelid. Okay. For the upper eyelid, there are 2 rows of the eyelashes are there, which are coming, which are outward and upward. Okay. 2 rows, while for lower eyelid lid margin having 1 rows of eyelashes which are downwards, direction is downward and outward. Okay. Now in that also we have to see quantity of the hairs present on the upper eyelid and the at the lid margin of the upper eyelid and the lower eyelid. Then we have to also see direction of the lid margin. Okay, so in case of if the direction is inward, that means the eyelashes hairs goes over the cornea. Okay, that is inward, that is called as entropion. Okay, so direction of the eyelid, it goes inward, that is called as entropion, and opposite to that, if the direction is goes upward, that outward, that is called as ectropion. Okay, so entropion and ectropion, this is about the direction of the eyelashes or lid margin, inward or outward. Now lacrimal apparatus. This chalazion and style. Now what is chalazion and style? This is again inflammatory swelling over the eyelid. Chalazion is painless while style is painful. Okay, it is because of some glands present in the eyelid. Inflammation of this gland will lead to the typical swelling over the eyelid, which is away from the lid margin, that is called as chalazion, which is near to the lid margin, that is called as style, which is painful. Okay, so this is about the eyelid. Now what is the lacrimal apparatus? The lacrimal apparatus consists of lacrimal gland, lacrimal sac and lacrimal duct. Okay, so lacrimal gland, which is present at the outer margin of the upper eyelid. Okay, while the lacrimal sac, which is present at the middle angle of the eyelid. Okay, and near the nasal bridge. Okay, so that is called as lacrimal sac. Now what we have to examine in this lacrimal apparatus, we have to see whether any swelling over the lacrimal gland. It is maybe because of dactyloadenitis, that is infection of the lacrimal gland, that is called as dactyloadenitis. Then if there is an infection of the lacrimal sac, that is called as dactylocystitis. Now in this we have to see just downward the lower eyelid, you can see the opening of the lacrimal sac. Okay, in that you have to see whether the opening is normal, whether there is a swelling in that, or whether there is any discharge from that opening. You have to see. In the demonstration part, I will demonstrate how to check the lacrimal sac opening. Okay. Then about conjunctiva. We already learned in the introduction to clinical examination what is the importance of palpebral conjunctiva and the bulbar conjunctiva to check for the anemia and the jaundice. Palpebral conjunctiva is nothing but the conjunctiva which present underneath the upper eyelid and the lower eyelid. Respectively, it is called as upper palpebral conjunctiva and the lower palpebral conjunctiva. How you have to examine this palpebral conjunctiva? Again, I will demonstrate in the demonstration part to check how to check the color of the palpebral conjunctiva. Okay. So in case of anemia, it becomes pale, that is called as paleness. Okay. In case of conjunctivitis, it becomes angry red. Okay. Now bulbar conjunctiva. Bulbar conjunctiva is nothing but it is a transparent which cover the our whitish structure, that is called as sclera. So whatever the whitish structure you see in your eye, that is called as sclera. Over that sclera, there is a transparent layer, that is called as bulbar conjunctiva. Okay. Now cornea. So as you already seen that it is the anterior components of the outer fibrous layer, that is called as cornea. Okay. That cornea, what we have to see in the cornea, we have to see the opacity, whether there is, normally cornea is transparent. If there is a scar or whitish structures opacity, you can see for that abnormal thing. Then one test, window bar deflection. This is for to check whether the cornea surface is regular, smooth, or any irregularity of the surface of the cornea is there. Okay. Again, I will demonstrate this in the demonstration part, how to check the window bar reflection. Now sclera, as I have told you that the sclera is whitish structure. Okay, present in the, that is nothing but this outer fibrous core. Okay, so that sclera is normally white. In case of jaundice, it becomes yellow. Again, in case of vitamin B deficiency, there is a whitish spot you can see over the sclera or over the conjunctiva, that is called as Bitot spot. Okay, because of vitamin B deficiency. Next is anterior chamber. Now what is meant by anterior chamber? The anterior chamber is nothing but the distance between posterior part of cornea, this is cornea, posterior surface of the cornea up to the anterior surface of the iris. This is called as anterior chamber. While posterior chamber is nothing but the posterior surface of the iris to the lens. This is called as posterior chamber. Okay. Now anterior chamber, again you have to see laterally we have to just throw the light from lateral side of the eye and see whether the distance between the cornea and the iris is normal or not. Normally it is approximately 2.5 millimeter. Okay, it can be shallow or deep. If you can see the deep anterior chamber, if the cornea is abnormal, position of the structure of the cornea is abnormal, that is called as keratoconus. Okay, that's the shape of the cornea is like a keratoconus. Okay, in that case there is an increased distance between the cornea and the iris, that is called as keratoconus. Again, opposite to that, shallow anterior chamber, you can see if the cornea is flat. Okay, if the cornea is flat, in that case we can have a decrease or it can have a shallow anterior chamber. Okay, so this thing you have to see in the anterior chamber. Now iris. Now iris is nothing but it is a part of the middle layer, the vascular layer. This is a compound. This is a part of the iris. Okay, it consists by different muscles, circular muscles. Okay, what we have to see in the iris, it gives different color. It have a different color because of presence of some pigment. Okay, so because of that, normal person you can have a brown pigment iris. Okay, so you have to see that color of the iris. Again, you have to see whether there is a abnormal exudation or adhesion or any hole in the iris is there or not. Any inflammation of the iris, that is called as iridocyclitis. Okay, in case of iridocyclitis, the color of the iris becomes muddy white. Okay, so normally it is a brown because of presence of pigment, it becomes brown. But in case of inflammation of the iris, that is called as iridocyclitis, the color of the iris becomes muddy white. Okay. Then pupils. Now pupil is nothing but whatever the gap is present between these two iris, that is called as pupil. Okay. Now we have in that we have to see for the shape of the pupils and whether the pupil is fixed or hippus. HIPPUS. Okay. What is hippus? It is nothing but the alternate contraction and constriction and dilatation of the pupil. It is because of presence of two muscles, that is called as dilator pupillae and the constrictor pupillae. Normal person have hippus. Okay, the pupil shows hippus. Normal shape is regular shape. Okay. Now applied part is in case of, you can see permanent constricted pupil. You can see in case of poisoning like OPP poisoning or morphine poisoning. Permanent dilator pupillae you can see in case of atropine poisoning or in case of datura poisoning. Okay. Now lens, as you know that lens is suspended with the help of the suspensory ligament. So when you throw the light inside the eyeball or from the outside, you can see, suppose we are throwing light from this side, so that light first enters from the cornea into the anterior chamber and then from this pupil into the lens. The lens is again transparent, so only this part, anterior part of the lens, you can see when you throw the light inside the eyeball. Okay, so this part this is transparent, and because of this transparency you can see this particular component, and this is called as vitreous humor. So inside this eyeball there is a presence of vitreous humor. Okay, and the function of the ciliary body is to secrete the aqueous humor into the anterior chamber. So normally lens is transparent, but it can, so you have to see whether there is a lens is present or not. If there is absence of lens, it is called as aphakia, and if there is a color of the lens is white, that is called as cataract, that is motivated. Okay. Now posterior chamber. Now posterior chamber, for that purpose we require particular instrument, that is called as ophthalmoscope. So you will see this instrument when you post it in the ophthalm OPD. So that is called as examination of the posterior chamber, ophthalmoscope, with the help of ophthalmoscope. Now eyeball tension with the help of tonometer in the ophthalm OPD, or manually you can also check the eyeball tension. Now eyeball tension, it is because of secretion of aqueous humor from the ciliary body that enters into the anterior chamber and the posterior chamber. Normally it is a 15 to 20 millimeter of mercury. This is a normal eyeball tension or intraocular pressure. Okay. So in manually I will demonstrate how I will examine the intraocular pressure. Again in ophthalmopathy you can also see how will measure the intraocular pressure with the help of particular instrument that is called as a tonometer. So let us see how to examine the clinical examination of the eye, some different points. Pause करो. नहीं पास को आपने कट किया शायद, ये चालू है शायद ना, यही है ना पास. नहीं. So first we will start about the examination of the eyelid. What are the points we should examine for the eyelid? That is first is rate of blinking, then gap between the upper eyelid and the lower eyelid. Okay. Torch. Pause करो. So first is examination of the eyelid. So these are the upper eyelid and this is the lower eyelid. Okay, you can see the eyelashes arising from the upper eyelid and the lower eyelid. There are 2 rows of the eyelashes for the upper eyelid and the 1 row of the eyelashes for the lower eyelid. You can see the direction of the eyelashes. For the upper eyelashes, the direction is upward and outward. While the lower eyelid, eyelashes are directed downward and outward. Okay, so you ask for the gap between the upper eyelid and the cornea. You ask the person to look straight. Okay, and you can see that. So you can see that the upper eyelid just touches the cornea. Okay, maybe around 1 to 2 millimeters. So if there is a drooping of the eyelid, the upper eyelid cover more than the 2 millimeter distance. Okay. Then exophthalmos, you can see the whole cornea because of abnormal protrusion of the eyeball. Okay, you can see the upper margin of the cornea also. So that is a exophthalmos. You can see in case of thyrotoxicosis or hyperthyroidism. Okay. Next is lacrimal. In case of what is entropion and ectropion? Entropion is when the eyelashes or the lid margin is go inward. That is called as entropion. That means direction of that eyelashes turns toward the eyeball. That is called as entropion. While ectropion is direction is outward. Okay. Now lacrimal apparatus. At this region, there is a lacrimal gland is present at the outer margin of the eyelid. Okay. Over this region, there is a lacrimal sac is there. Now I will show you how we will examine check for the opening of the lacrimal sac. Okay. So you have just bring the lower eyelid downward. Zoom karo. So you can see that there is a opening of the eyelid, lacrimal sac is there. You can also see here. Okay. So the normal opening is there at this region. So if there is an increased secretion or if there is a discharge from that opening or if there is a swelling at that region, that means called as there is inflammation of the lacrimal sac, that is called as dacrocystitis. Okay. Now conjunctiva, that is palpebral conjunctiva and the bulbar conjunctiva. You already seen in practical of introduction to clinical examination. I will check the palpebral conjunctiva, color of the palpebral conjunctiva for the checking for the anemia or paleness. Okay. For the upper eyelid, you ask the person to look downward and you just bring the upper eyelid upward. Okay. So you can see the color of the upper eyelid like this. Palpebral conjunctiva. For the lower palpebral conjunctiva, you ask the person to look upward and you just bring the lower eyelid downward. And you can see the color of the lower palpebral conjunctiva. Okay. Then bulbar conjunctiva, you can easily see, ask the person to look straight. You can easily see the transparent layer which are covering over that white structure, sclera. Okay, that is called as bulbar conjunctiva. Okay. Again, in that case, you have to see for the any yellowish discoloration of the sclera and also see for the any bitter spot, that is a whitish spot over the conjunctiva. Then cornea. Now in the cornea, you have to see for the opacity or any scar mark over the cornea, and you can see for the surface or smoothness of the cornea. Okay. So for that purpose, we have one test that is called as window bar reflection. Okay. You just ask the person to look for these are the window bar. Okay. So you just ask the person to see through the window. That reflection of that bar, you can see over the cornea. Okay. So you can easily see there is no need of light. You can easily see the straight images of that bar is fall over the cornea. Okay, so that is the normal images. There is no irregularity of that images. Now if the cornea having a irregular shape, irregular or there is a smoothness is not there, irregular shape, okay, so that images you can have distorted images over the cornea. Okay, in case of if the surface is not smooth for cornea. Okay, now sclera is whitish structure, as you know that, and in that also it normally is whitish in color. In case of jaundice it becomes yellow. Okay, then anterior chamber, for the anterior chamber we have to throw the light from the lateral side and just check the whether the distance between the cornea and the iris is normally 2 to 5 millimeter approximately. So we have to see for the foreign body, or you have to see whether the anterior chamber is shallow or deep. Okay, deep anterior chamber you can see in case of if there is a keratoconus, conical cornea, and shallow anterior chamber you can see in case of flat cornea. Okay, next is iris. That means again you have to see the color of the iris. You can easily see that surrounding the black portion, you can see centrally you have black, that is called as pupil, and surrounding that black pupil you can have a brownish color, that is nothing but the iris. Okay, you have to see for the color of the iris if there is exudation or any hole inside the iris, you have to check. Then pupil, whatever the black portion is there in the center, that is called as pupil. Okay, so when I will throw the light, there is a constriction of the pupil. When I will remove it away from that light, that light, bring away from the eyeball, there is a dilation of the pupil. Okay, so in that case again we have to see the shape of the pupil. It is regular normally, and you have to see for the whether it is fixed or hippus. Hippus is alternate constriction and dilatation of the pupil because of constrictor pupil and the dilator pupil. This is normal thing. But if there is a fixed pupil, that or if there is a fixed constrictor pupil, you can see in case of morphine poisoning or OPP poisoning. If there is a fixed dilator pupil, you can see in dead patient, or you can see in case of atropine or datura poisoning. Okay. Then lens. Again, when you throw the light, you can also see the lens is transparent. That means you can only see the center portion or center anterior portion of the lens, which is biconvex. Okay. So if there is a change in color, or if there is a whitish color you can see through the pupil, that is called as cataract. Okay. In posterior chamber, further we require one instrument is called as ophthalmoscope, which is present in the ophthalmopathy. Now, how to check the eyeball tension, that is intraocular pressure. Okay. For the purpose, you ask the person to close the eyes. Okay. Place your index finger over the eyeball like this, or middle finger over the eyeball, and fix it at the index finger, fix it at the forehead. Or you can have other method also. You can just place your index finger over the eyeball and just slightly press it. Okay, slightly press it. So normally, if there is the increased intraocular pressure, that eyeball is the film of the eyeball is like rigid. Okay. In case of decreased intraocular pressure below the 15 millimeter of mercury, that eyeball is fluctuate, like you are pressing our water bag. Okay. So that is a examination of the eyeball tension. Okay. Increased intraocular pressure, that is called as glaucoma. Okay. More than 20 millimeter of mercury, if there is increased intraocular pressure, that is called as glaucoma. Okay. So this is about the clinical examination of the eye. In the next practical, I will demonstrate visual reflexes. Okay.